I had a resurged interest in art and paintings last year, mid-pandemic. In my drawings, I was always attached to portraying expressive, lonely faces, as that was the best way I could depict the alienation I felt. The artworks I found myself drawn to presented a different interpretation. The paintings I'm showing you now portray loneliness as an omnipresent and timeless emptiness, a void which lie in the back of our subconscious, to which we retreat whenever we feel weak or vulnerable. One which offers an inviting calm in exchange for everything social that populates our lives, all for an escape from a grim reality we know we can't fix. But these are only fleeting, as these images of rooms, hallways, pools, and escalators all depict transitional places that we know are transitional. Some of these paintings are hardly even rooms as much as the presentation of space locked in an infinite time loop, never changing, but always there, as a passage from one part of your imagination to another, whether it be the dark maroon voids of Mark Rothko or the cowhide landscapes of Clifford Still. These pictures are thresholds to another part of reality, yet still possess an uneasiness similar to that of the morning, just before your alarm clock sounds to go to work, and you're lying in bed, waiting. These are liminal spaces, a phenomenon popular on the internet since mid-2019, when the first Backrooms photo was uploaded to 4chan. We know that a liminal space is a place of transition that is typically missing something big or has been taken out of context, and sometimes evokes either a sense of nostalgia or familiarity. I am not going over that crap in this video, though. No need. In fact, you could probably tell by the intro that I would rather focus on the context of these contextless photographs. What draws us to them, and what does that say about our current state of the world? I'm not a very good writer, so this may be short and sweet. I love econ and politics, so this is my way of incorporating this interest into an internet-friendly discourse. These paintings act as shelter from reality, like shelter from rain, or shelter from whatever analogy you can think of.
Usually on the show, someone would come up with a complicated plan, then explain it with a simple analogy.
If we can reroute engine power through the primary weapons and reconfigure them to Melvar's frequency, that should overload his electroquantum structure.
Like putting too much air in a balloon.
Of course! It's so simple!
Let's revisit the paintings of Rothko, who I mentioned earlier. Rothko was part of the abstract expressionist movement of the 40s and 50s, which revolutionized the art world from painting boring murals to, well, this more lively mural. Many of his contemporaries made vibrant, colorful, or just straight up manic canvases that took up large, massive portions of their studio. I wonder if that caught on the camera. Out, get out, get the fuck out. Come on, please. Give me oh my god, get out. Hey, just want to let you guys know that this is video editor Raymond, whatever. And I talk about Mark Rothko in this upcoming portion of my video, but I don't mention his name in the first sentence, so I just say his style. I just want to let you know that the his in the upcoming sentence is me talking about Mark Rothko, the painter who I talked about earlier. So yeah, just want to let you guys know about that. And sorry, I didn't mean to confuse you, so that's my bad. I'm sorry. Mark had depression for most of his time in the limelight, so this change in style shows a visual diary of sorts. For me, this drop in vibrancy signals that Mark had invented what is an abstract liminal space. An imagined space we base on real liminal spaces, and which we visit every now and again to escape the crowded world, and in which we develop our own creative identity. Think of it a bit as the Mind Palace from Sherlock Holmes. Mark created special canvases which evoked an unfamiliar sense of eeriness and evil dread. Although he started off mostly in line with his contemporaries, his style grew more and more bleak, and these spaces suffered a slow failure.
In the 1950s, Mark Rothko explored how forms could float in space, sometimes advancing toward you, other times quietly receding away from you.
By getting rid of anything that triggered history or memory or narrative or even geometry, he was trying to create an overwhelming sensory experience for the viewer through monumentality, simplicity, and stillness.
If everywhere is a transitional space, we not only lose the point of meditation, but we lose track of and forget where we were headed to originally. Dude, what the fuck are you doing? That's what I believe really emanates from Rothko's work compared to other liminal painters. He depicts the infinite present transitional space that ensnares you. Every moment you take staring into the abyss is a moment of utter existential aimlessness. Now, how does this relate exactly to those liminal space photos we love to watch 40-minute compilations of with corny ambient music? Well, we long for a forgotten past, which we can no longer revisit. One that's simple. We no longer feel a forward transition into the future. This process too affects what is and what could be, as we'll lose track of what both the past and the future contain as we trap ourselves in the present that is indefinitely looped. The past is only a repeated present, and the future, in the famous words of the late Mark Fisher, has been cancelled. All we have is an ever-occupied transitional space into nothingness. I remember visiting the Rothko Chapel in Houston earlier this year and having the same ominous feeling rush through myself when I see his painting. The building itself is designed to evoke that exact same mood. You come, you leave. It's a meditative, social experience that we once valued, and is now commoditized. I mentioned earlier that my resurgence in liminal paintings came from a feeling of alienation. Alienation not only during the pandemic, but from my old job. The feeling of weakness and a lack of creative drive as a result of selling a part of me to something distant. This was the alienation I meant. Society, particularly in America, is experiencing this right now. We can't enjoy meditative spaces in the real world, so we turn to the internet. This may sound a little random, but all this current talk about the endless Marvel multiverses and everything everywhere all at once has me thinking, what are we striving for exactly? Where lies our simple goals to achieve a simple, stronger world? Do we want to ride the wave of globalization into a new equity-based economy where everyone lives in a borderless landscape, united by humanistic principles and the will for us to determine our own course as an intelligent species? Or will we continue to live detached from one another in a consumerist minefield? In a world where everywhere is a transitional place, nowhere is. As a result, we feel isolated from one another in the constant ebb and flow of alienation or nothingness. Yet, contrastingly, we forget what those peaceful, harmonious moments are. Away from the crowd. That's all I got to say. I wanted this one to be pretty simple, so like, subscribe, hit the bell. That's it. Sorry, this was kind of a weird one. I feel like this was like me just kind of saying shit at the camera I thought was kind of important. I feel like my message was a little muddled, but I mean, you get me. You get me. If you don't like that, then Let me know in the comments. Disagree with me? Comment anything you want, really, as long as it's not slurs.